Well, it's finally happened after a lot of QR codes, and given what they did do, Adam Pearce, GM of Raw, should be a bit ashamed with himself, because we did get all of these hints right. We're going to come to Raw, we're going to destroy it, going to destroy WWE, going to make some people some victims, and what do? Absolutely nothing. And then the Wyatt Sick6, and I think it's spelled S-I-C-K-S, but the S looks like a 6, did indeed turn up on Monday nights. And as far as I can tell, they committed a lot of crime. The big one everyone's talking about is when we saw Chad Gable like this. Make sure we put a picture up right now. I was howling, man. This is the kind of wrestling that I like. I understand that it makes no sense, but it puts a smile on my face, and that's the main thing. And yeah, pretty much as soon as Jey Uso had qualified for the Money in the Bank, the lights started going crazy. The fans knew what was going on, which made it even better. And then, yeah, let me get this right. You had Nikki Cross crawling out the door to the light, and she's Sister Abigail. Then we saw who we presume is Eric Rowan with his help hammer, which sounds like something from Mario. I forget who he was now. He was the rabbit, right? I think. Then we saw Joe Gacy, who I think is the buzzard. We saw Dexter Lumis. Who's the other one? I've forgotten. I wrote all this down earlier, but I've totally forgotten. But I think it's really cool. I think the look is awesome. I love the fact the cameraman was like, oh, she's pointing to the back, shall we? Let's just go look at this murder scene. But yes, everybody was laid out. Some people have posted pictures on the internet where it's like even Triple H was laying down with blood on his head. But the one that got everybody really, really chatting was Chad Gable. It was the end of The Departed. I don't want to ruin that movie for you, but it's been out like 15 years, so you've had plenty of opportunity. But it was Chad Gable against the wall, totally Bludgeon Brothers, with some blood on the wall, as if someone had just shot him through the skull. I thought it was tremendous. If you're going to make an impact and you're going to do a debut, why go half-assed with it, right? Let's go all in. Let's have some fun with it. And let's just make sure we got a good follow-up, and let's just make sure we've got a good story to tell. Now, the rumor that's been going around, I think Fightful Select had this, was that it's probably going to be less spooky and more creepy, and I think that's massively important. The way that I kind of discussed it with a friend today is it should be like the family in Resident Evil 7. If you had played Resident Evil 7, they're just sort of terrifying and off, and they make you feel uncomfortable, and it would explain why they all wear masks. You're just like, okay, it's not like they have magical powers or anything. You've just gone a bit doolally, and you don't know what's going on anymore. But it looked great. The presentation of it was great. And like I say, repeating myself, but they made an impact. That's much better than, let's go back to 2002, right? I did a video on this the other day for What Culture. Subscribe to them, subscribe to me. Thank you very much. And when the NWO first arrived in the WWE, I understand we were trying to do something different, and you may feel differently about this yourself, but when I saw them, I was just like, man, this is so disappointed, because Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and Hulk Hogan came out, and they tried to be friendly, and they tried to be nice, and of course it was a ruse. Within 6 weeks, they were trying to murder The Rock, quite interestingly, by running him down with a truck. That's not what I wanted. I just wanted to come in, and I wanted them to cause chaos and create carnage and leave me with something like, go, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I have to tune into next week, which is absolutely what we've done, given that WWE and all professional wrestling is 52-week-a-year programming. If you can come up with these kind of angles that are going to get people interested, just do them. So, huge fan of this. Love the way it looked. Very excited for everybody involved, because especially someone like Nikki Cross has always deserved a proper opportunity, and hopefully this will be the one she's able to grasp on. But yeah, you got to explain why you did that to Chad Gable. Now, when I was watching this, I probably got this wrong, and a lot of it is people on the internet, so they may have sort of thrown me off in the wrong direction. Definitely saw Chad Gable. I thought we saw Gunther, which would be weird, because he hasn't been on TV in ages, so I probably made a misconnection there. Someone said Braun Strowman. Again, there's Triple H. Now, the interesting part, especially when it comes to Gable, and let's say hypothetically Gunther, is maybe this, because you can't really have Uncle Howdy's group or the Wyatt Sick6 as good guys or bad guys. I don't think so. I think it does need to be shades of grey. And maybe this could be like a Seven Sins kind of a thing, maybe, because Chad Gable is being a right dick over the last few weeks. So I can't remember what the Seven Sins are now, but maybe spin it a different way. Maybe the Wyatt Sick6 are just coming to punish him for the sins that he has committed, which would tie into Gunther as well. I mean, Ludwig Kaiser's going to have to be grabbed in too, because speaking of murders, they definitely murdered Giovanni Vinci. When they did that thing to him on the steel steps, we haven't seen him since. Maybe he has been on NXT, I've missed it, I don't think so. But no NXT, no Raw, no SmackDown, he's just dead. Although really, I don't understand the Wyatt Sick6 can be the people to cast punishment, because they also murdered Chad Gable. But I think when you are going to go into these, we'll call it supernatural angles for now, for lack of a better term. Although again, I think it's heading more in the creepy sort of direction. I think you need to have something that feels different and gets people talking, and we definitely tick those two boxes. And once again, the production was awesome. It was all one shot, and they came together at the end to do the very pro wrestling photo. I was like, this is a couple of thumbs up. As I said on Raw Ups and Downs, I gave it a golden up, because it's one of those things that we can talk about, people get excited about. If you post about it on social media, you're gonna get loads of reactions, a load of likes, because people just want to say good guy, bad guy, indifferent guy, whatever it may be. There's some people that go, oh man, spooky doesn't work in wrestling, and maybe it doesn't, but it doesn't mean I don't want people to try, because the coolest thing about wrestling wrestling is that as long as everybody involved comes up with it and agrees and we get thumbs all around, we can throw it out into a live arena. And those fans were so desperate for it, whether or not it's because of the QR codes or because they know of the tie into Bray Wyatt. And I think that's my favorite thing about it. The best way to remember someone after they have passed on, especially when it's way too early and way too tragic, is to keep their memory alive. And this is the continuation of the Bray Wyatt story. We'll change it a little bit. We'll switch it a little bit because I think you have to. You're never going to be able to do what Bray did. He was one of a kind. But I just like it. And it does give me sort of a few warm and fuzzy in my tum-tum feelings. But yeah, really, really good stuff. Really, really well executed. No idea what we do next week. They jump on a SmackDown. Can't draft the Wyatt Six. Can you imagine? Don't go to SmackDown. Mother Hubbard, we just murdered people. We're not going to obey your fake line you've drawn between the shows, so let's not do that either. And it'd be awesome if we get to a point where it just made sense for a Nikki Cross to become women's champion, or for, I don't know, I'm going crazy here, Joe Gacy and Dexter Lumis to be tag team champions. I mean, right now it feels a little bit fluffy, but if you can come up with something where that all does tie together, I think that helps the group as well. And all I would say is that if you haven't watched this yet, it's 5 minutes long. It's 5 minutes, 20 seconds. You can find it on the internet. You can find it anyway. Just give it a watch. Right? Even if it's not for you, I think there is still something to be taken away from it. And the coolest thing I thought is that when Drew McIntyre quit earlier in the night on Raw, you saw the gorilla position. And I think they did that. I could be wrong. So that when we saw the gorilla position later and it was laid to waste, just in case you'd never seen that before, I mean, you should have done. It's on WWE TV all the time. But you had that black and white, you had that 180, you had that change, and yeah, you could see that there was a massacre, essentially, and that they should all be going to jail. The crime counter, once I added it all up, was like up by 10. That's how many crimes they had committed, but good for them. That's what I say. If you need to make a big splash on TV and make sure you get promoted, why don't you commit a crime? Somebody else said, what if it's a dream sequence? Don't do that. That's not what I want. Doesn't make any sense with live professional wrestling. WCW did this with the Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan was freaking out because he could see the Ultimate Warrior in the mirror when Eric Bischoff walked in, and he didn't know what Hulk was talking about. But I, the fan, could also see the Ultimate Warrior in the mirror. So actually the crazy person in that scenario was Eric Bischoff, but that's not how the story was played out. This is why when people say to me, why did WCW die? I know why it died. Stuff like this and Judy Bagwell on a forklift. But yeah, 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10 stuff for me. It's the kind of stuff I love about professional wrestling, and it gets me excited. And I really like what we did with Drew. Simple but effective. I thought he was going to destroy the first hour of Raw. Instead, he comes out, he hears a CM Punk chance, he goes, screw this, what am I even doing? I quit. He bumps into Triple H, who he calls Paul, work shoot brother, and he's like, you have, urged this man on. CM Punk should be administered for the things that he's done, but you're promoting him saying how great he is. Same thing to Adam Pearce. Well, that's a really, really good line. And he storms off. Now, CM Punk deliberately did say at the Clash of the Castle post-show, he can't be on Raw because he's got to go get cleared. Friday he's going to turn up in Corpus Christi. No, Monday was Corpus Christi. Wherever the hell Friday. I think Chicago is Friday, right? I don't know. But he's going to turn up and say he's been cleared, whereas the rumor mill is actually saying he won't be properly good to go. Like he can do sort of aggressive angles now. But in terms of working a match, it's going to be closer to SummerSlam. So I think we have a real opportunity here for Drew to turn up on SmackDown. Doesn't matter if you quit in WWE. You can still go wherever you want. Kick the absolute crap out of CM Punk. I hope it isn't in hometown, but whatever. CM Punk will be over wherever he goes. And they both vanish for a bit before they come together to do SummerSlam. Or you could do it the other way where CM Punk does come back and maybe he's got a bit of momentum and it's Drew McIntyre who screws him over. But I think if we do still have a few more weeks before CM Punk is cleared, and Drew McIntyre has made it very clear himself that he would like more time to see his family and stuff, this is a great time to do it. Coming off the pay-per-view, premium live event, loads to talk about. CM Punk has just done the ultimate screw job when it does come to Drew, and maybe you want to strike when the iron is hot or whatever the hell that saying is. I think that would be quite exciting too. So that was like 5 minutes on Raw, but I think it had a lot of weight to it, a lot of gravitas. Chad Gable is finally separated from the Afro Academy. And look, if that is all we do, I want to say lame, it's a bit strong, but I feel like we could have done more with it, but we're going to circle back round to it. So I've not got a problem with that either. And the fans still pop like crazy. And I love the fact that Otis is getting another shot at this because it happened obviously during the pandemic and then with the Money in the Bank, and it kind of got a bit wishy-washy. But the people just love this guy, and I count myself among them. He's just a guy, he's just a dude. And I just want to see him do well. So I hope we get behind that, and let's keep him with Cesaro and Maxine Dupree, because that's really working. And also, just random wins that we were giving people. Like the Katana Chance Caden Carter match was super duper weird, went 2 minutes, and we sold it as a big deal because they defeated the Damage Control, but then It went too fast to actually feel like it did have gravitas. But it still counts as a win. If WWE treats that right, as they did with Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, there's a tag team. Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark said, we beat you last week, tag team champions. We'll be coming for those. Now, Kaden Carter and Katana Chance have got wins. Damage Control is saying, oh my gosh, we need to hit reset, or Io Sky is. If we finally are going to add some weight to this women's tag team division, you have to have teams. At the moment, you don't have teams. So I actually thought that was quite good, although it's still a work in progress. I totally understand that. And the fact that we may be doing Sami Zayn versus a Bron Breakker, or versus a Sheamus, or versus a Ludwig Kaiser, I would do a 4-way just because I need that in my life. I'm going to be dead one day, so why wait on this? It's absolutely tremendous because Sami Zayn is just brilliant. He just is. He's just such a relatable, awesome dude. Bron Breakker, of course, would want a shot at the Intercontinental title. He's debuted on Raw. He's beaten people. What's the first thing I do? I go for a quote-unquote mid-card title that right now is arguably more prestigious than it ever has. Ludwig Kaiser is the same, but from a more heel perspective because he doesn't want Sheamus to win anything because he hates the guy, and he should be getting a push. And Sheamus is all-time and has the story. I never won the Intercontinental title. I've been talking about this for 5 years. I want to be a Grand Slam champion. Now, I guess the only reason not to do the 4-way is because I'll take Sami versus Bron, I'll take Sami versus Ludwig, I'll take Sami versus Sheamus again, and then I'll take offshoots of all of those, as maybe we even build all the way through to WrestleMania. I think at some point, Sheamus should be the Intercontinental champion, and I think Bron Breakker should do it too, and I give it to Ludwig, Bowser's son. So that is just good stuff. I like the fact that Sami Zayn made sure to reference Chad Gable, so I'm not dropping that. So I don't understand what's going on. And we had a bunch of qualifying matches for Money in the Bank, which made me look like a goober, because on Ups and Downs for SmackDown, and I was like, why does Carmelo hate a qualifying match? That's only because when people like Jey Uso had declared, seemingly so, he just said it, and I thought he was in, then it turned out he had to qualify too. So that's why you should always wait before you open your mouth. But we did have Finn Balor versus Jey Uso versus Rey Mysterio, main event. So damn good. So damn fun. Rey Mysterio continues to kick Mother Nature's ass, or Father Time's ass. It's just, it's probably the best wrestler ever. Let's just face it. Same with Finn Balor, an underrated gem even after all these years. Jey Uso gets the win after all the Dominic Liv stuff, which we'll get into in just 1 second. But I think Jey Uso has a real shot of winning that thing, or you could give it to Drew. And then maybe Drew cashes in at Money in the Bank, because, of course, the main event there is going to be Seth Rollins versus Damian Priest. Also loved that, too. Seth did not come out and say Geese title shot. Seth came out and said, no, Money in the Bank. That sounds like a great idea. Oh, there's qualifying matches. Well, why don't I do that? Whereas Damian Priest was a bit pissed off, like, excuse me, what am I, chopped liver? You're looking past me? Well, you know what? You beat me once when you won that world championship. You gave me a shot, so now I'm going to return the favor. I'm going to beat you because I am better still. And that is a fascinating match, because Drew McIntyre, that's not what I meant to say, because Damian Priest shouldn't be losing. But Seth Rollins, as you saw last night, is a super duper whooper megastar, and Raw benefits massively, although he doesn't need to be the champion right now. Are the Wyatt Sick6 going to get involved? I'm just saying, you do not know. And yeah, we had the story running throughout the evening of Dominic Mysterio and his purple cow vest. Whatever he called it. It was just a great way to continue to drive a wedge between the Judgment Day. I thought Damian Priest and Finn Balor were very, very good with this. And the scene where they were in the corridor and Dominic had found Liv Morgan and he's like, Liv, can I have my top back? So, you've got to take it off me. And then Damian catches them like the dad, then administers both of them. It's just good stuff, man. It's nice and simple. And of course, Liv Morgan got involved in 2 of the matches, and we're building something between her and Zelina Vega. That's probably what we'll do at Money in the Bank. And look, I said this on Ups and Downs as well. Keep repeating myself. You have to forgive me. There was too much distractions on this show. There just was. Like when we got to Bron Breakker versus Sheamus, I was having the time of my life, because it is big men slapping man meat. But, you know, Ludwig Kaiser getting involved, that should have been the distraction of the evening for me, because it makes sense. Ludwig would never want Sheamus to win a championship, but then you're also building up all these 4 people so they can do something. Whereas in the other matches, when Liv Morgan was there, I didn't necessarily think you needed her out there just to try and build a program with Zelina Vega. I think there are other ways. And even the Katana Chance and Kaden Carter match, Lyra Valkyria came out and cast Boost Confidence or something like that. And for some reason, Dakota Kai didn't know what was going on. I think sometimes, as much as we do, you know, want to get behind Damage Control because they do have more legacy than the other team, which is a bit of a stretch. I know what I'm saying here. Io Sky's already been freaking out that we need to do something different. Just use a surprise roll-up. You know what I mean? I know it did happen in another match too, but I don't think everything needs to have you kind of got screwed, because the more you do it, the less it actually means. It's the law of diminishing returns. It happens all the time. Like if next week the Wyatt Sick6 go and shoot a guy, and then we do it next week, and by December that's all they've been doing, you'd be like, well, of course the guy gets shot on Raw. That's what we see all the time. And because it is a creative endeavor, I just think you should just come up with random ideas. A goat appears. No, that would be a distraction. You see? It's not that easy. For some reason, I'm letting farmyard animals into for Raw. But I thought it was a really good show. I thought it took everything from Clash at the Castle and set it on its way. And of course, we get to do more of that on SmackDown with Cody and Roman Reigns, who knows what else, and maybe Drew and CM Punk. But we also brought in elements where we have started to go towards Money in the Bank. And I may be missing one, but I think obviously Io Sky's in the women's, Jey Uso's in the men's, and there's a lot of good people that could get in those matches. And we'll do our own video about this. But Jey Uso could absolutely win. Io Sky could win. Alive Akira could win. It all depends, really, on what you want to do. But I kind of think because we're in June, which is usually a lull period for WWE, in the past they've really struggled here because we're not quite SummerSlam and we're way too far away from WrestleMania. But right now, I'm happy to tune in. I'm happy to see what's going on. And I think that's awesome. And I think that's really good. And the Wyatt Six, I think, have had one of those debuts that if you saw it live, you will talk about it for a long time. And if you see it after the fact, you'll be like, man, why didn't I watch it live? Which is also good. It's a nice advert to make sure you try and watch Raw as much as possible. So I recorded this video super late today for reasons you don't need to know, so I'll end it there, but make sure you get in the comments. Maybe you hated the Wyatt Six. I would love to know your opinions, and I'll try and get back to as many of you as possible. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the bell ding ding so you know that videos are going live. Click the video on the screen, which will be my thoughts on Drew McIntyre. Otherwise, it is grillermind.com/Simon. Use code Simon to get 10% off. I like these fitness supplements, and I think you will too. Patreon.com/Simon316. Simon316 on all social media. Just search for that right now, and you can do that on Cameo, personalized video messages. Did loads for Father's Day, so thank you very much for that. Just search for my name, Simon J. Miller, on TikTok, and ProWrestlingTees.com/Simon Miller if you'd like a t-shirt. Same with Santa's Athletics. Otherwise, that's it. That's done. In case you need a headline, big fan of the Wyatt Six, but don't be, motivated by them or inspired by them. Don't copy them, is what I'm trying to tell you. You don't want to kill people, because in the world of wrestling, there are no consequences, but in the real world, you ass has gone to jail.